Hello and welcome to 6 o'clock news in Chicago.
Today we will be covering the most important things of the decade with A.
Thanks, Alex. Today marks a very important day for this nation's history. Today only ever happens once every 4 years. But today is especially special considering the circumstances that led us here. Rest in peace, President Harding. Today we welcome President Coolidge to office, which will hopefully be a better term as most Americans' trust in the government has been slim to none. The Teapot Dome scandal, where the naval oil reserves were secretly released for personal gains instead of for army gains, is still relevant in today's society, and all citizens should discuss this scandal committed by a trustworthy U.S. government official so the U.S. population can make sure that this dishonest event never occurs again. Moving on from the past, welcome to today's future. Since Harding's passing, his Vice President Calvin Coolidge has come to national attention, and it is the day of his inauguration. Coolidge believes in the laissez-faire policy and is opposed to regulating business as Harding was. Hopefully Coolidge can have the grip on his own administration that Harding did not. Good luck today, Calvin Coolidge, and good luck for the rest of America. Back to Jaquan and Alex for more news.
Thank you, Adriana, for that update. Now we're going to go to Alex to update us in fashion.
You see, this decade's fashion was one to remember as it entered the modern era. This is a decade where they abandoned the restricted fashion senses that they used to do before, Skirts or trousers started as popular. Men abandoned highly formal attire and began to wear athletic clothing for the first time. Even though the suits are still based on kind of the late 1920s, the 20s were divided in half. Just because the beginning was slow and people had trouble adapting. Then the roaring 20s came along and women changed roles with fashion, the expected. Teens seen now with skirts or gathers, the bobbed hair came along with the well-known flappers. Coco Chanel, most influential fashion woman of the 20th century. The hats, the skirts, and then below the knee. Now, men wore short suits, jackets, and the old ones used for formal occasions. Lapels and suits weren't wide. And after 1925, wider trousers came along. While suits went back to normal waist. Sweaters and double-breasted vests with single-vested jackets, short trousers. Men's fashion became less regimented. Out with the old and with the new. This revolutionized and completely changed the game in the streets. Now to you, Hannah.
In the ongoing fight between traditionalists and modernists in America. With the introduction of jazz, new fashion, and the wave of revivalism, there is a distinct argument of what we should teach the children of America. John Scopes, a high school science teacher, has recently been charged with teaching the theory of evolution and is being represented by Clarence Darrow. Prosecuting the case is William Jennings Bryan, who is now leading as what has been called a crusade to banish Darwinism and has been named the fundamentalist pope. This trial has gained national attention and represents the clash between science and fundamentalist religion in rural and in urban America. Legislation has been introduced in 15 states so far. Locals in Tennessee are reporting of the rumored belief that the case will be dismissed soon. Only 2 states are likely to pass such legislation. Across the country, schools and teachers are on edge about controversial topics in the classroom. In what is quickly becoming one of the most talked about cases of the 20th century, public and media attention have been gathered by the millions. Now back to Jaquan so he can inform you on the Harlem Renaissance.
Thanks, Hannah. Now in the Harlem Renaissance. We are living in an age of Harlem Renaissance, a period of African American cultural creativity. Harlem has recently become a center of music, art, and literature. Black writers are being influenced by the Renaissance, but literary establishments are refusing to acknowledge their accomplishments. However, Langston Hughes is making a name for himself by writing with rhythmic meter of blues and jazz. Claude McKay has also been urging African Americans to stand up for their rights through his powerful verses. The goals of the Harlem Renaissance is to enhance African American self-image, An accurate portrayal of African American culture will lead us to more enlightening society. The Harlem Renaissance as a cultural movement allows us to celebrate Black traditions, Black voices, and Black contributions to society as a whole. You can catch Duke Ellington at the Cotton Club tonight at 7 p.m. Langston Hughes will be a part of a literature circle given at a university in Chicago this week. Zora Neale Hurston will be giving a book talk in Eatonville next month. Be a part of this movement, educate yourself, influence others, and stand for what's right. Out to Avery in the field.
Communism today has intensified lately as many of your neighbors continuously search for communists in their everyday lives. As of today, no communists have been found nor convicted, but fear still surrounds us, and fear is imminent and relevant in today's society. As countries around the U.S., also known as Russia, endure major changes to their society. In recent events, some families are moving out of the city due to fear of violence and anarchy. United States Attorney General A. Mitchell Palmer has recently attempted to help stop the ongoing campaigns and strikes that are attempting to stop Trump businesses and are fueled by labor unrest and the anarchist bombings. Recently, there has been the Seattle General Strike and the Boston Police Strike, and then there was the U.S. bombing campaign directed by anarchist groups. But General Mitchell Palmer's attempt took a violent turn last night as sources confirmed that he did illegal searches and seizures, unwarranted arrests, as well as a deportation of several hundred suspects. Not convicted radicals and anarchists. If you or anyone you know has a suspected radical, call the government hotline 877-777-4444. Now back to Hannah, who will update you on further news.
As a result of the highly controversial prohibition laws recently passed, organized crime has increased greatly. Criminals such as Al Capone, Bonnie and Clyde, and John Dillinger dot the headlines across the country. Being a gangster is dangerous, but the lure of easy money is impossible for some to miss out on. Jobs are scarce, and people need to provide for their families. Most significantly, after passing of the 18th and 19th Amendment just a short time ago, those who want to drink became a criminal, also therefore decreasing the foreign concept of breaking the law. Organized crime's main economic flow is their supply of illegal booze. Prohibition has quite actually backfired on the government, as we see violence and crime rates skyrocket. An entire black market was created and is being controlled by the gangs. Also called the American Mafia, this Italian-American network spreads across America's major cities. Two of the largest, New York and Chicago, have risen to power through the gangs' domination of the illegal liquor trade. The Mafia is full of violent crimes, secret rituals, and its larger-than-life characters. Such characters have become icons and celebrities in many households with their cunning attitudes and smooth demeanor. The division of the Mafia into 5 main families has created organized crime as we know it today. Now all the way back to Alex and Jaquan in the studio.
Thank you, Hannah. Today, in Sports of the Decade, I will tell you the 3 main sports of this time period and tell you why they are so important. Number 3, boxing. Many have heard the name Jack Dempsey. He kept the world heavyweight title for 7 years and then lost it in 1926. But many of his fights remain historic. The big boxers were among the most famous people in the world, and the biggest matches were mega events. Boxing attracted entertainment draw with legendary fighters and great fights. The first black boxer was Jack Johnson. This was a big step for boxing in sports for African Americans. Now to number 2 on today's list. Something that cost people millions to make stadiums for. Baseball. As the Great Depression ended, people looked for baseball as a recovery sport interesting to watch, they said. Jim Crow laws prevented African Americans from participating until later on. A really big star was Babe Ruth, a player like no one had ever seen before, considered by many the greatest player of all time. Now, number 1. Football. As these years go by, you see an attraction towards sports like never before. College ball mainly attracted thousands and thousands of Americans from all over. The NFL, the National Football League, was formed, but it would be years before it took over in popularity over college ball. College ball was a really important thing for schools all over because the income that it brought. The big teams were the Ivy Leagues, who are believed to have the best teams. Now to Jaquan.
Thank you, Alex. Now I'm going to talk to you about the entertainment. In the area of entertainment, we're beginning to experience a revolution. By now, if you haven't noticed, radio stations have become a staple in every major city across the country. These stations are being encouraged more and more to diversify their playlists and reach younger audiences. Tune in to your local radio station to hear artists like Bessie Smith, T-Bone Walker, and Binge Crosby. Something else to take note on are silent movies. These are moving motion pictures without sound. Charlie Chaplin is taking over the screen, bringing people joy and amusement. Warner Brothers Studio is working on offering a contract to Chaplin. He is quickly becoming an icon on the screen. If sports are your thing, Jesse Owens is tearing up track and field. Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth are hitting homers in baseball. Boxing, baseball, basketball, and football are all providing a source of family entertainment. Check out the season schedule for each of these sports in your local town. And your top 3 songs of the week are Careless Love Blues by Bessie Smith, 5 Foot 2 Eyes of Blue by Gene Austin, and That Center Feeling by George Gershwin. Thank you for tuning in.
For more news, you can join us tomorrow at 9:30 Central. Have a great night.